Hey, I'm Alex, reporting to you alive and lethargic from New Orleans, Louisiana, where Mardi Gras is canceled. This disqualification for Mardi Gras means no Bourbon Street, no Frenchman Street, and all bars being closed within the slightest vicinity of typical Mardi Gras happenings, which means no alcohol. It's as if Mardi Gras has taken a restraining order against all of us. And to compensate for the lack of public intoxication and indecency this year, New Orleans will be hosting Mardi Gras, an example of which is featured here behind me, where New Orleans is creating floats in their front yard. Some are quite elaborate, quite creative, and some are just representative of how it's going in a world of how it started. I personally do not have a yardie to decorate, therefore I will be doing the next best thing. I'm making a king cake from scratch. The first thing you need is some flour. It's 2.5 cups. Oh Lord. And the next step is to get our rapid rise going. Stir on low for 30 seconds. This is my simulation of a stand mixer. You're gonna need a saucepan. This is kind of like a pasta pan. It's a pot. That's what it is. Heat milk, sugar, and salt in saucepan over medium heat until sugar is dissolved and milk is 120 degrees. I'll put my pinky in, be like, does this feel like Southern California in July? And that's how I'm gonna know. 4th cup of sugar. And then 1 cup of milk. Now things are about to heat up. We're heating up the salt, the sugar, the milk until the sugar dissolves. But seeing as I don't have a oh my God, a thermom. Is it therm? It's a thermom. Just like a simple little butter churn. Mix in the remaining cup of flour, just like gradually. You just keep adding it until you get that good shaggy, but don't forget you need to add in your 2 eggs, so I wouldn't go all in with a cup of flour just yet. Were the Cajuns truly bakers? No. If they couldn't put seafood in it, they weren't making it. Well, the dough's looking great. I wouldn't necessarily say it's shaggy, but it's looking pretty good, don't you think? 6 tablespoons of butter. If it's too sticky, add some more flour, which I think I'm gonna be getting to the sticky point pretty soon. Like, this looks like an alien fetus. The sounds are kind of weird too. Just a tablespoon at a time. But they say that if it's too sticky, to add more flour, and if it's too dry, to spritz it with water like it's a bad cat who's on the counter. Look, I have a mouthful of hair right now. Truly like a cat. Now, this is the fun part. We're gonna turn dough onto a lightly floured surface. Do this a few times until it's smooth. Be sure it's smooth and elastic. This boy, he may be nothing but elastic. I'm just gonna grease my bowl like so. It says to cover it with saran wrap or cellophane. Listen, I feel like the bakers in the Great British Bake Off have legitimately done this before. And then put it in the fridge to rise and cool for 1 hour. While that's cooling, onto the filling. First, we're gonna mix the brown sugar and the cinnamon. There are a lot of different fillings you could put in your king cake. There's like apple, there's apple caramel, there's like different fruit flavors, but then there's praline. Praline is fantastic. However, brown sugar and cinnamon is a classic. It is the classic way to do it. So normally I would just like shake it and just eyeball it, but I'm done eyeballing. I'm down to be precise. I don't think there's a method to this. Add in the butter, 4 tablespoons of butter. Isn't this like kind of intensive? It's kind of a lot, isn't it? That's what's cool about during carnival season in Louisiana, or at least in southern Louisiana, because everyone has a king cake. Like, anytime you go anywhere in the span of the start to end of carnival season, people just casually have king cakes at their houses. If you end up eating the king cake and you get a baby, that means you have to buy the next one. Which also, you should be aware, I'm sure this is like pretty obvious, when you're biting into a king cake, you want to be really conservative with your bites. And you wanna make sure you chew really well, because I bet swallowing a plastic baby can really do something pretty bad to your track, right? The filling is freaking done. What was that? Brown, brown. We'll I said, let's reconvene when the dough is out of the fridge, and then we could put in our filling. I feel weird just wasting it because it's so delicious, probably. It's just butter, cinnamon, brown sugar. She wants it. So after an hour, your dough is ready to come out the fridge. And he has risen. We're just gonna like spread our dough out. Just spread and spread into a rectangle. And ideally, I kind of want to get it pretty thin, especially because we're about to put in the filling. And I personally don't like a super bready king cake. All right, that looks pretty okay to me. And it also, I'm kind of like aligning it with my pan here a bit. I was gonna say you don't want to take Mardi Gras too seriously, but now that Mardi Gras isn't happening this year, people are like it's like a pretty big deal. People are pretty upset. Yeah, let's put the filling on the long side of our dough. Yeah, so we're just gonna put it on half the side and stretch it across, like so. I might have to get my hands dirty. Nice texture. And then I'm kind of leaving a bit of a clearance here because we're gonna be folding this half of the dough over it, just so that the dough could stick, like a seam allowance. Fold him over. You kind of pat it down. You wanna make sure that it sticks. Make 3 long strips. Here, just a little bit, a little bit. This one's a little thicker. This is the fun part. This is where you get to pretend like you're at a sleepover. So, braid. Under that guy.
He's over this guy.
So he needs to go over this one, I think.
How about the momentum?
This is like the part in the braid where you're like, I don't know if she ran out of some hairs. So like, after you braid, press the ends together at the bottom. Then we transfer onto parchment paper. Cover once again, let rise for an hour. So I think it's time for us to go on a walk. Oh. So once your king cake is finished proofing, you're then going to put it on the pan, put it in the oven at 350 Fahrenheit for 20 to 35 minutes, or until golden brown. Oh yeah. So we're gonna let the king cake cool for 15 minutes. And in the meantime, we're gonna get started on the icing. And then after that, it's time to just sugar it up. Icing's pretty simple. It's half a teaspoon of vanilla, a cup of powdered sugar, and a tablespoon of milk. I got a pair of some pinking shears. Oh my God. You don't have to be perfect. Vanilla extract. This is about getting it nice and thick, pasty, like Elmer's glue. It kind of looks like Elmer's glue. They say spoon icing over top of cake, and then they use the word immediately sprinkle the sugar. Now we have gold, check. We have green, check. But we don't have purple. But what we do have is blue and red, which make purple when mixed together. I don't know if the same rules apply when they're just solid, granular pieces of sugar. I think it's essence. Like if you kind of like, it's like, oh, that's purple if you squint. And maybe with the icing, it'll congeal. It's time, it's time. A little bit of purple. Oh, wow. Actually working quick, I just like breathing heavily. Shall we give it a go? There's one last thing. And that's an incredible king cake. Legitimately, this is probably the best king cake I've ever had. It's warm. The dough is really nice, like it's not too dense. Oh, this is so good. It's like he got stuck in a burrow. It's like Winnie the Pooh. He got stuck in a honey pot. I don't know. Oh, it's Jesus. Yeah, I told you how there's a Christian anthology wrapped up with Mardi Gras, and it's the baby Jesus in a king cake. That's where he rose. When he woke up, he was in a king cake. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Happy Mardi Gras. Happy Mardi Gras.